Hey, welcome back. Today we're going to try and focus on getting this engine out of the Jeep, as well as the transmission and the transfer case. We'll get that stuff all packaged up so it can go to its new owner. Let's get started. All right, the first thing we're going to do is take these motor mount bolts off from the bottom side on both sides so we can lift the engine a little bit. This side, I was able to get the header off, but the other side, the header won't come out unless we can lift the engine a little bit. This engine hoist in half-ton mode does not have a long enough throat to come from the end and get that, because of the way the bumper is. Even if I took the bumper off, that piece there is not going to give it. So we had to take the tire off and come from the side. We finally kind of got it worked out. Tire off, we got a jack stand underneath the thing there. Alright, so we got all 6 bolts off the bell housing. There's a couple bolts off the little plate that's the bottom cover of the flywheel area. As well as we did take off the starter motor, because it's part of that that little plate that goes over the bottom. So we got all that stuff off. We were going to try and use some straps that the other engine came with, but they didn't like to hold as well, so we've changed over some chains. So let's lift it up, see what we can do. Here we go. There we go. Oh, here we go. Oh.
Too far?
No, we're perfect.
Keep going?
Yeah. Alright. Heart transplant.
Let me lift up.
Lift up.
What we can do is we could go tight line, lower it.
Okay, quick. No, there's a lot. I think we got to get it out. I think. Yeah, so we're going to do this.
Yeah.
I think a little more. Is that good? Close? Get it over here. All right, the 304 is out, and I've got it safely now sitting down on a little wooden crate stand that I built. This is going to help the guy when we put it in the back of his truck. He's actually going to transport this from Georgia all the way to South Carolina, so I thought I'd build him a nice little stand so the thing wouldn't rock around and stuff. And so with that done, I'm actually going to get started on the transmission and transfer case. Alright, we're getting super close to dropping the transmission and transfer case. I still got that jack stand under the front. The situation right now is there's typically on the skid plate there's 3 bolts down the driver's side and 3 bolts down the passenger side. The driver's side's correct, but the passenger side there was only 1 bolt. I went ahead because of just the situation. I got the driver's side 3 bolts taken out, and unfortunately the passenger side bolt is stripped. It just spins and doesn't want to come out, so I'm going to grind the head of that off next. So I got these extra 2 jack stands in the back. That's going to hold that up while I zip off the head of that bolt, as well as the hydraulic jack under there. Once I get that bolt off, my intention is going to be to just jack it up a little bit, get these jack stands out, and then between the hydraulic jack and my older son lowering the front, or kind of managing the front of it, we're going to get this thing just lowered to the ground so we can start managing it. Real carefully lift up on that a little bit and see how, well, your weight of it.
Okay.
See how much it weighs?
Yeah.
That should be the only amount of weight that you're managing.
Okay.
Because it's not quite balanced, it's front heavy.
Okay.
Okay, so you need to be sideways like that?
Yeah.
That's good, okay. So here we go.
Okay, yeah. I gotta. Okay, I'm ready.
I'm cracking it. Ooh.
I'm good.
Okay. I got the transmission and the transfer case all separated and made it a little bit easier to manipulate, but let me tell you, together they're a bear to move, but even apart, those pieces are extremely heavy. But I got them all kind of cleaned up in a box, and then there's all the parts, part of this whole drivetrain. Everything's in those 2 boxes. Nuts and bolts are in bags with notes and stuff, and then we got the engine here. So the guy's coming in a couple of days, going to pick all this stuff up, transport it to South Carolina, and interesting, going to be installed into another Jeep. So kind of excited to see that process go on. So that is quite a bit of work. That stuff is extremely heavy. You got to be very careful not to hurt yourself when you're doing that type of remove the drivetrain. You know, my approach this time was take the engine out and the transmission transfer case, only because it was kind of familiar to me. I've taken that engine out before, so I knew how to do that. I could see that, picture that in my mind, and then take the other 2 out. You know, the jack stands. It worked well with all the jack stands and the hydraulic jack that I have. Certainly another approach may be better, maybe not, but I wanted to mention it because I know some people are going to say, why'd you do it that way? You should have done it the other way. And that'd be to put a jack underneath, jack stand underneath the transmission. That way you can take off the skid plate and the transfer case off the transmission off the engine, and then certainly pull the engine by itself. So that's definitely another way. Possibly could be better, but you know, this way worked as well. But so glad to have all that stuff kind of off to the side, and really have someone that was interested in it and put it in another Jeep ready, and he's actually going to come here in about a couple of days and pick that up. So anyway, you know, this project, and then behind me here's the LM7 5.3 GM that's going in that Jeep down the road. I still got to do a lot of body work and some frame stuff. Take the frame, get it, there's a section of it that actually needs to be straightened, and then get it all prepped and stuff like that, get new suspension underneath it. We'll start fitting this engine in there. You know, if you're new to the channel, I encourage you, and you like, you know, just simple build things. I'm just a guy working in my shop. But if you like different types of build, I encourage you to first, you know, to subscribe to the channel. There's a little bell there. You can ring the bell, and that every time I put a new video up, you get an email or a notification. If you want to see, actually, I've already built this engine. This engine was bought it from a junkyard, $600, and you know, my 2 sons tore it apart. Took it to the machine shop, had everything done to it, and got a mild cam in it, and you know, excited definitely to do that. If you're interested in seeing that build, I'll put a link in the upper corner up here to the build for that engine. It also includes everything I did to the wiring harness for this. Seems to be a pretty popular series. It's I think it's about 13 videos, 6 or 8 for the engine and 6 or 7 for the wiring harness. But and then if you want to actually catch up on this entire Jeep build, I've got a playlist, Project Rowdy playlist, that has all videos, and they're actually in order. You could actually just start the playlist, and it'll play video after video in order, and I encourage you to go back and look at those. I'll put a link to that as well. So what I got to do is I got to determine what I'm going to do next. I might actually skip back to some body work. I really would like to, now that all the dash and pedals and stuff out, it gives me the room to now go do the driver's floor. I got to replace that. I've already replaced the passenger floor. Get the driver's floor finished. That way the whole interior is done. And then I'm prepped actually to take the tub off the frame. So I think I want to do that before I take the tub off the frame. Certainly got that in line, as well as coming up pretty soon, I'm actually going to rebuild the Dana 300 transfer case that is going to go back in this Jeep. Certainly there's a lot more stuff to do, but you'll have to learn more about that next time.
Jack it up.